The Meridian Incident. The vast emptiness of space erupted with brilliant flashes of light as the Crixian warships emerged from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight like deadly prisms. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood aboard his flagship, the Eternal Dawn, his four eyes narrowing at the sight of the human colony below. The settlement on Meridian VI was supposed to be defenseless, an easy conquest to add to the Empire's growing collection of subjugated worlds. But something was wrong. The tactical display showed unusual energy signatures emanating from the colony's surface, patterns unlike anything in the Crixian database. Vexthor's mandibles clicked in irritation as he studied the readings. These weren't the primitive defenses his scouts had reported. Supreme Commander, his sensor officer called out, voice tinged with concern. We're detecting quantum distortions at the system's edge. Multiple signatures. They're unlike anything we've encountered. Before Vexthor could respond, space itself seemed to ripple. Through tiers in reality that resembled sheets of liquid mercury, vessels of gleaming titanium and carbon fiber emerged. Their designs were elegant yet purposeful, bearing markings of Earth's United Defense Fleet. At their head, the EDS Hyperion cut through the void like a blade, its hull adorned with sophisticated sensor arrays and weapon systems that defied conventional understanding. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the Hyperion's bridge, her expression calm but determined. 20 years of service had prepared her for this moment. Humanity's first major confrontation with an alien empire. The neural interface at the base of her skull hummed softly as it connected her directly to the ship's quantum computing core. Status report, she commanded, her voice steady. Crixian fleet consists of 37 capital ships and supporting vessels, Admiral. Her XO, Commander James Rodriguez, reported. Their weapons are charging, but their targeting systems are still adapting to our quantum phase signatures. Chen allowed herself a slight smile. The Crixians, like most spacefaring races, relied on conventional physics for their technology. They had no defense against humanity's quantum phase drives and reality-shifting weapons. Achievements born from humanity's unique ability to think beyond traditional boundaries. Open a channel to their flagship, Chen ordered. Let's give them one chance to withdraw. The communication burst cut through space, automatically translating into the harsh clicks and whistles of Crixian speech. Vexthor's image appeared on the main display, his chidinous faceplates shifting in what Chen recognized as an expression of contempt. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet, she announced. You are engaging in hostile actions against a protected human settlement. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to respond. Vexthor's laughter was like grinding metal. Protected? By whom? Your species is unknown to us, human. Your colony stands alone. And the Crixian Empire does not abandon its conquests. Perhaps after we subjugate your people, we'll study how you achieve space travel with such primitive understanding. Chen cut the transmission with a gesture. They never learn, do they? She mused, more to herself than her crew. All stations, implement Quantum Defense Protocol Alpha. Prepare to demonstrate why humanity's understanding of the universe isn't as primitive as they think. The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed with energy as Chen's neural interface synchronized with the ship's systems. Around her vessel, the rest of the Earth fleet moved with perfect coordination, their formations flowing like water around rocks in a stream. The Crixian sensors would find them impossible to track. The ships existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, a technique that had taken humanity decades to perfect. Vexthor's first indication that something was terribly wrong came when 3 of his heavy cruisers simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris. They simply vanished, their atomic structure dispersed across multiple quantum realities. His tactical officer's panicked report was cut short as quantum phase torpedoes passed effortlessly through the Eternal Dawn's shields, their warheads shifting into normal space only after they had penetrated the hull. Impossible. Vexthor roared as damage reports flooded in. No species can manipulate matter at this level. No technology can bypass our shields. But the evidence was undeniable. The human ships danced through space like ghosts, untouchable yet dealing devastating damage with each pass. Their weapons ignored shields, their defenses rendered conventional attacks useless, and their coordination was unlike anything the Crixian military had encountered in centuries of conquest. As the battle raged, Chen watched the tactical display with the detachment of a surgeon performing a precise operation. The Crixian fleet's formations were breaking down, their attempts to coordinate a defense hampered by humanity's superior quantum technology. They couldn't fight what they couldn't properly perceive or understand. "Signal the colony," Chen ordered. "Tell them to prepare for immediate evacuation. Once their ships commit fully to the attack, we'll demonstrate why challenging humanity was their last mistake." The quantum core's hum rose to a crescendo as Chen initiated the final phase of the attack. Reality itself seemed to bend around the human fleet as they executed maneuvers that defied conventional physics. The Crixians were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to completely rewrite the rules of engagement. The hidden advantage. Deep within the Hyperion's quantum core chamber, streams of impossible light danced through crystalline matrices as Dr. Maya Patel monitored the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. Her dark eyes reflected the ethereal glow of quantum calculations as they flickered across multiple holographic displays. 20 years ago, she had been part of the team that cracked the code of quantum phase technology. Now she watched as their creation changed the face of warfare forever. Core stability at 98%, she reported through her neural link to the bridge. Ready for full spectrum deployment. Admiral. Above, on the command deck, Admiral Chen acknowledged the report with a slight nod. The Crixian fleet was regrouping, their initial shock giving way to desperate determination. New energy signatures indicated they were charging their main weapon arrays, impressive instruments of destruction that would have spelled doom for any conventional force. "Let them come," Chen murmured, her neural interface humming as it processed tactical data. "Commander Rodriguez, initiate quantum mirror protocol." The space between the two fleets suddenly shimmered like heat waves rising from hot asphalt. The Crixian energy weapons discharged, sending lances of destructive force toward the human ships. But instead of impacting their targets, the beams simply vanished, as if swallowed by an invisible maw. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Vexthor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. "Explain," he demanded of his science officer. "Where did our weapon fire go?" Before the officer could respond, the missing energy beams reappeared behind the Crixian fleet. The redirected weapons fire tore through their own rear guard, destroying 3 destroyers and crippling a heavy cruiser. The quantum mirrors, one of humanity's most closely guarded technologies, had turned the enemy's own firepower against them. "Fascinating adaptation of quantum field manipulation," Dr. Patel commented as she monitored the energy readings. The Crixians clearly never considered the possibility of weapons fire existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their linear thinking will be their undoing. The battle continued to unfold like a deadly chess match, but one where humanity could move pieces through multiple dimensions. The Earth Fleet ships phased in and out of conventional space, appearing at impossible angles and striking with weapons that ignored the traditional laws of physics. Each attack was precisely calculated, designed not just to destroy but to demonstrate the futility of resistance. In the Hyperion's tactical center, Lieutenant Sarah Wong coordinated the fleet's quantum defense grid. Her fingers danced across holographic controls as she maintained the complex network of quantum fields protecting their ships. "Admiral," she called out, "I'm detecting unusual energy spikes from the enemy flagship. They appear to be attempting to replicate our phase technology." Chen couldn't help but smile at the Crixians' desperate improvisation. "Brave attempt," she said, "but quantum manipulation isn't something you can reverse engineer in the middle of a battle. It took humanity decades of dedicated research and our unique way of thinking to master it." The Eternal Dawn's attempts to mimic human technology resulted in catastrophic failure. Spatial distortions rippled across its hull as improperly managed quantum fields tore through conventional matter. Vexthor watched in horror as sections of his mighty flagship began to disappear, the atoms scattered across multiple realities. Status report on the colonial evacuation, Chen demanded, turning her attention back to their primary mission. Evacuation ships are moving through quantum corridors now, Admiral, Rodriguez reported. The colonists will be safely beyond the combat zone in 3 minutes. Chen nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. The battle was proceeding exactly as Earth's strategists had predicted. The Crixians, like many advanced alien civilizations, had become complacent in their technological superiority. They had forgotten one crucial fact. True innovation comes not from gradual improvement of existing systems, but from fundamental paradigm shifts in thinking. Humanity's quantum technology wasn't just an advancement. It was a complete reimagining of how the universe worked. While other species saw space as a rigid construct governed by immutable laws, humans had learned to treat reality itself as malleable, a canvas upon which they could paint with possibilities. Admiral, Dr. Patel's voice came through the neural link. I'm detecting massive power fluctuations from multiple Crixian vessels. They're attempting to engage their faster-than-light drives. Desperate, Chen observed. They're beginning to understand. Commander Rodriguez, signal all ships to initiate containment procedures. Let's not let our friends leave before they've learned their lesson. The Earth fleet moved with practiced precision, their ships generating overlapping fields of quantum-locked space. The Crixian vessels' attempts to flee were met with failure as their engines struggled against localized regions where the very laws of physics had been rewritten. Vexthor's voice crackled across the command channel, his earlier arrogance replaced by barely contained panic. What manner of demons are you? No species can control reality itself. Not demons, Commander, Chen replied calmly. Just humans who learn to think beyond the obvious. Your empire has expanded through conquest, taking what others have built. Humanity had to build everything from scratch, and in doing so, we learned to see possibilities where others saw only limitations. The quantum core's hum reached a new pitch as Chen prepared to demonstrate just how far humanity had pushed those possibilities. The space around the Crixian fleet began to warp and twist, not from weapons fire or energy discharge, but from the fundamental manipulation of reality itself. Your ships are now contained within a quantum bubble, Chen explained to the increasingly desperate Vexthor. Inside that bubble, we control which laws of physics apply. I suggest you consider your next actions very carefully. As if to emphasize her point, one of the Crixian destroyers simply ceased to exist as the quantum field around it collapsed, crushing the vessel into its component atoms. It was a demonstration of power that went beyond mere military might. It was proof that humanity had achieved what the Crixian Empire had thought impossible: mastery over reality itself. The battle for Meridian VI was more than just a military engagement. It was humanity's announcement to the galaxy that the old rules no longer applied. In the quantum age, human ingenuity and imagination would reshape the very fabric of space and time. Breaking the siege. The command deck of the Hyperion thrummed with controlled energy as Admiral Chen initiated the next phase of the battle. The quantum bubble containing the Crixian fleet pulsed with otherworldly light, its boundaries shimmering like the surface of a soap bubble in sunlight. Inside, the once mighty vessels of the Crixian Empire drifted in confused disarray, their weapons fire dissipating harmlessly against the quantum fields. All evacuation ships have cleared the combat zone, Commander Rodriguez reported, his neural interface streaming real-time updates across his field of vision. Colonial defense systems are fully withdrawn. We're clear to proceed with full tactical response. Chen's fingers traced patterns in the air, manipulating holographic tactical displays with practiced ease. Begin operation, Shattered Mirror. Let's show them what happens when you threaten human colonies. Throughout the Earth fleet, quantum cores spun up to full power. The space around the ships began to fragment, reality splitting into countless parallel sheets that overlapped and intersected. To the Crixian sensors, it appeared as if the human fleet had suddenly multiplied, each ship existing in multiple states simultaneously. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Vexthor's tactical officers struggled to make sense of their readings. Supreme Commander, one called out, mandibles clicking frantically, "We're tracking multiple versions of each human vessel. Our targeting systems can't determine which are real." "They're all real," Vexthor growled, his earlier confidence completely evaporated. "And none of them are. These humans, they're not fighting in space. They're fighting with space itself." The first wave of human attacks came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Quantum-phase torpedoes passed through Crixian shields as if they didn't exist, their warheads shifting back into normal space only after penetrating hull plating. Energy beams struck from impossible angles, seemingly bending around the laws of physics to find their targets. Dr. Patel's voice came through the neural net, calm and focused despite the chaos unfolding around them. "Quantum field stability at maximum. The enemy's attempts to analyze our technology are becoming more desperate. They're trying to adapt their shields to quantum frequencies, but they're working from fundamentally flawed assumptions about how reality operates." Chen nodded, watching as another Crixian cruiser disappeared into quantum foam, its matter scattered across multiple dimensions. They're still thinking in terms of conventional physics. They see quantum mechanics as an obstacle to be overcome, not a tool to be wielded. The battle shifted into its next phase as the Earth fleet executed a maneuver that would have been impossible under normal space-time conditions. Ships phased through each other, their quantum fields interweaving in complex patterns that created cascading waves of distorted reality. The Crixian fleet found itself caught in these waves, their ships being pulled apart and reassembled at the quantum level. "Admiral," Lieutenant Wong called out, "the enemy flagship is attempting something unusual. They're overloading their main reactor. Energy readings are off the scale." Chen's eyes narrowed as she analyzed the data flowing through her neural interface. "They're going to try to break our quantum containment with a massive energy surge. Brave, but futile. Lieutenant, initiate Protocol Omega. Let's show them what real energy manipulation looks like." The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed with new power as Wong's fingers danced across her console. The quantum bubble containing the Crixian fleet began to contract, not in physical space, but in possibility space. The laws of physics inside the bubble began to shift and change, making energy behavior increasingly unpredictable. Vexthor watched in horror as his flagship's reactor overload, instead of breaking them free, began to feed back into itself. The laws of thermodynamics within the bubble had been rewritten, turning his desperate gambit into a weapon against his own fleet. "How?" he demanded over the command channel, his voice cracking with strain. "How did your species achieve this level of control over reality?" Chen's response was measured, almost professorial. "While your empire was conquering and subjugating, humanity was questioning and exploring. We didn't accept the universe as it was presented to us. We asked why, and then we asked why not. Every limitation became a challenge, every impossibility a puzzle to be solved." The battle continued to unfold, but it had ceased to be a traditional military engagement. It was more like a demonstration of physics gone mad. Human ships phased in and out of existence, striking from quantum angles that shouldn't have existed. Their weapons ignored not just shields, but the very concepts of space and time that made conventional warfare possible. In the Hyperion's quantum core chamber, Dr. Patel monitored the increasingly erratic readings from the Crixian fleet. "Their ship's quantum structures are becoming unstable," she reported. "They never considered that reality itself could be used as a weapon. Their technology, their understanding of physics, it's all based on accepting limitations we learned to ignore." The final phase of the battle began as Chen initiated what would later be known as the quantum cascade. The space around the Crixian fleet began to fold in on itself, not physically, but probabilistically. Ships found themselves existing in fewer and fewer possible states until they were forced into a single inevitable configuration: defeat. Your empire thought it could threaten human colonies with impunity. Chen broadcast to the remaining Crixian ships. You assumed that because we were unknown to you, we must be primitive. That assumption has cost you dearly. Consider this a lesson in humility and a warning. Humanity is not to be trifled with. As the quantum fields began to stabilize and the laws of physics reasserted themselves, the once proud Crixian fleet lay in ruins. Those ships that remained intact had been thoroughly neutralized, their weapons and drive systems rendered useless by quantum manipulation they couldn't begin to understand. The battle for Meridian VI would go down in history not just as a military victory, but as the moment when humanity revealed its true capabilities to the galaxy. It was a demonstration that would send shockwaves through the interstellar community and force every spacefaring race to reevaluate their assumptions about this young, upstart species that had learned to rewrite the rules of reality itself. The counterstrike. 3 days after the Battle of Meridian VI, the Earth Defense Fleet assembled at the edge of Crixian space. The Hyperion led the formation, its quantum core humming with barely contained power. In her command chair, Admiral Chen studied the tactical overlay of Crixian territory, her neural interface streaming real-time intelligence gathered by quantum probe drones that existed in multiple realities simultaneously. The Crixian High Command is in complete disarray, Commander Rodriguez reported, his holographic displays showing chaos spreading through enemy systems. The defeat at Meridian has shattered their assumptions about their military supremacy. Their entire defensive doctrine is being questioned. Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. Fear is spreading through their empire faster than their ships can travel. Good. Perhaps fear will teach them what arrogance could not. She turned to address the fleet-wide neural network. All ships, prepare for Operation Quantum Storm. Dr. Patel's voice came through the command channel from the quantum core chamber. Admiral, I've finished analyzing the data from Meridian. The Crixians are attempting to adapt their technology to counter our quantum advantages. They're not succeeding. Elaborate, Chen commanded, though she already suspected the answer. They're approaching the problem from a fundamentally flawed perspective, Patel explained, her excitement evident in her voice. They're trying to defend against quantum phase attacks using conventional physics. It's like trying to stop a submarine with a chain-link fence. The fleet moved forward in perfect synchronization, their quantum drives bending reality around them. They didn't so much travel through space as they rewrote it, creating new paths through dimensions that the Crixians couldn't even perceive. The first Crixian border outpost they encountered didn't even have time to raise an alarm before it found itself existing in a probability state where it had already surrendered. Deep within Crixian space, in the crystalline towers of the High Command, Supreme Archon Kexnar received reports of the human advance with growing dread. The defeat of Vexthor's fleet had been devastating enough. But this was beyond comprehension. They're not just advancing through our territory, his strategic advisor reported, mandibles trembling. They're changing how space itself works within our borders. Our fastest ships can't outrun them because they're altering the very nature of faster-than-light travel. Our strongest weapons can't harm them because they simply shift into realities where the attacks never happened. Kexnar's claws dug into his command throne. How do we fight an enemy that controls reality itself? The answer came in the form of quantum-phased missiles appearing simultaneously in the orbits of 12 Crixian military bases. The weapons existed in superposition, both present and not present, until the moment of detonation collapsed all probability states into a single devastating outcome. Aboard the Hyperion, Lieutenant Wong monitored the quantum defense grid as they pressed deeper into enemy space. Admiral, we're detecting attempts at quantum field generation from multiple Crixian facilities. They're trying to replicate our technology. Chen allowed herself a small smile. How long did it take humanity to master quantum physics? Dr. Patel. Decades of focused research, Paddle replied. And that was just to understand it. Applying it to practical technology took even longer. We had to completely reimagine our understanding of reality. The Crixians are trying to skip that step, to build quantum technology without fundamentally changing how they think about the universe. The counter-strike continued, but it wasn't merely a military campaign. It was a demonstration of a new kind of warfare, one that operated on levels the Crixians couldn't comprehend. Human ships appeared inside their strongest fortifications, quantum weapons bypassed their most sophisticated defenses, and reality itself seemed to turn against them. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Crixian High Command. They're requesting terms of surrender." Chen sat forward in her command chair, her neural interface processing the incoming transmission. "Put it through." The holographic image of Supreme Archon Kexnar materialized on the bridge, his proud bearing diminished by recent events. "Admiral Chen," he began, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions in his voice. "Your species has demonstrated power beyond our understanding. We cannot defend against weapons that ignore the very laws of physics." "You misunderstand," Chen replied, her voice firm but not unkind. "We don't ignore the laws of physics. We simply understand them better than you do. Your empire has spent centuries conquering other species, taking their technology and adding it to your own. But you never stopped to question the fundamental nature of reality itself." The quantum core pulsed as Chen transmitted a data package to the Crixian High Command. "These are our terms. You will withdraw from all conquered territories. You will provide restitution to the species you've subjugated. And you will acknowledge that the quantum realm, and all territories within it, are under Earth's protection." Kexnar's image flickered as he reviewed the terms. "And if we refuse?" In response, Chen simply gestured to Dr. Patel, who initiated a carefully controlled quantum field around the Crixian capital. For one terrifying moment, every being in the capital experienced existence in multiple quantum states simultaneously. It was a taste of the reality humanity had learned to navigate, a glimpse into the depths of their understanding. "That," Chen said quietly, "was less than 1% of our capability. Consider carefully whether your empire can afford to experience the full extent of human quantum warfare." The surrender was formalized within hours. The Crixian Empire, which had dominated its sector of space for centuries, had been humbled not by superior numbers or conventional military might, but by humanity's unique ability to understand and manipulate the quantum nature of reality itself. As the Earth fleet began its withdrawal, Chen stood at the Hyperion's viewport, watching space itself ripple around their quantum drives. "Send word to Earth Command," she instructed Rodriguez. "The counterstrike is complete. And let them know the galaxy is about to become a very different place. Victory's price." 1 month after the Crixian surrender, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Council in the grand chamber of humanity's capital. Through the vast, quantum crystalline windows, the gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched toward the sky, each building a testament to humanity's mastery over matter and energy. The neural interfaces of hundreds of council members hummed in unison as they processed the full report of the Meridian campaign. "The implications of our victory extend far beyond military superiority," Chen explained, her voice carrying across the chamber. "We've demonstrated not just new technology, but a new way of existing in the universe. The question now becomes, how do we wield this power responsibly?" Dr. Maya Patel stood beside her, quantum data streams flowing through her neural interface as she presented the scientific analysis. "The Crixian defeat has sparked a fundamental shift in galactic physics research. Every major civilization is now questioning their basic understanding of reality. But they're years, perhaps decades, from truly comprehending what we've achieved." The council chamber filled with murmurs as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just won a war. They'd changed the rules of existence itself. Through the quantum network, Chen could sense the mix of pride, concern, and uncertainty flowing through the collective consciousness of Earth's leadership. Council President Zhang rose from her seat, her aged face bearing the wisdom of someone who understood the weight of this moment. Admiral Chen, you've given us unprecedented power over the fabric of reality itself. But with that power comes a terrible responsibility. How do we prevent this technology from being misused? Before Chen could respond, a quantum alert rippled through the neural network. Commander Rodriguez's avatar materialized in the chamber, his expression urgent. Admiral, we're detecting massive quantum disturbances throughout former Crixian space. Their attempts to replicate our technology. They're having catastrophic consequences. The chamber's holographic displays came to life, showing scenes of devastation. Crixian research facilities were collapsing into quantum singularities, their failed experiments tearing holes in the fabric of reality. Entire star systems were being affected, space-time itself buckling under the strain of poorly understood quantum manipulation. This is exactly what we feared, Dr. Paddle said, her fingers dancing through holographic data streams. They're trying to force quantum technology without understanding the fundamental principles. It's like giving fusion weapons to medieval warriors. Chen's decision was immediate. We need to contain this now. President Zhang, I request emergency authorization to deploy the quantum fleet. Not to fight, but to save them from themselves. The authorization came swiftly, and within hours, the Earth Defense Fleet mobilized again. This time, however, their mission was different. The Hyperion led a task force of ships equipped not for war, but for quantum stability operations. As they approached the first affected system, Chen watched the sensor readings with growing concern. The Crixians' desperate attempts to match human technology had created quantum instabilities that threatened to cascade throughout their region of space. Deploy quantum stabilization fields, she ordered. Dr. Patel, begin emergency containment procedures. The human ships moved with precision, their quantum cores pulsing with carefully controlled energy. They weren't destroying or conquering now. They were healing space itself, their advanced understanding of quantum mechanics allowing them to repair the damage caused by desperate experiments. In the midst of the crisis, a transmission came through from the Crixian High Command. Supreme Archon Kexnar's image appeared, his proud bearing now completely abandoned. Admiral Chen, he began, his voice heavy with humility. We require your assistance. Our attempts to understand your technology have brought us to the brink of destruction. Chen's response was measured but firm. Your empire's greatest mistake wasn't losing the war, Archon. It was assuming that power could be taken rather than earned. The technology we possess isn't just about advanced engineering. It's the result of humanity's journey to understand the deepest mysteries of existence. As the fleet worked to contain the quantum disruptions, Chen made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. We're establishing the Quantum Sciences Initiative, she announced to both her fleet and the watching galaxy. Earth will share its knowledge, not its technology, but the fundamental understanding that led to it. Any civilization willing to learn will be welcome to send their scientists and philosophers to study alongside humanity. The implications of this decision rippled through the quantum network. It was a bold move, one that would forever change humanity's relationship with the galaxy. They would become not just conquerors or defenders, but teachers and guides for species ready to expand their understanding of reality. Months later, as the first alien students arrived at Earth's quantum research facilities, Chen stood with Dr. Patil in the Hyperion's observation deck, watching the quantum fields ripple around distant stars. We've changed everything, Patil mused, her eyes tracking the patterns of reality itself. Not just warfare or politics, but how species will interact with the universe itself. Chen nodded, her neural interface showing her the countless possibilities branching out from this moment. The question was never whether humanity could master quantum reality, she said quietly. The question was whether we could help others understand it without repeating our own mistakes along the way. The victory over the Crixian Empire had cost nothing in terms of human lives, but its price would be paid in responsibility. Humanity had emerged not just as a powerful species, but as custodians of knowledge that could either elevate civilizations or destroy them. As the Hyperion prepared for another stabilization mission, Shen reflected on the true nature of their victory. They hadn't just won a war or established dominance. They'd assumed the burden of guiding an entire galaxy toward a new understanding of reality itself. The quantum cores hummed, reality rippled, and humanity stepped forward into its role not as conquerors of space, but as shepherds of understanding, guardians of knowledge that could reshape the very fabric of existence. The price of victory wasn't measured in lives or territory, but in the weight of responsibility that came with showing the galaxy a new way to perceive reality itself.